If you're like me, there's nothing better than to be sitting outside next to a bonfire. Welcome back to another Jeff Reviews for you. As you can see in this video, we are looking at the Solo stove. You know what though? Enough talk. Let's get right into this review. Here is our Solo Stove Bonfire 2.0. This is the 19.5-inch version. It does come in a variety of colors. You can see mine here is green. It's completely stainless steel, and it retailed, as per this video, right around $200. This is already 99% ready to go. We do have to unbox a few more things. And of course, I'm gonna have to end up flipping around the flame ring, but inside you're gonna see that you're gonna have a base plate in there. You're gonna have an ash pan. This looks like it could be either a cover or a carrying bag. I thought it was supposed to come with the carrying bag. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm actually just going to set it all up. Let's take a look in there in the bottom. You can definitely see it is insulated from the ground directly. And so that's good if you're gonna be putting this onto a deck or something, but we're gonna put the ash pan in first. Then we're going to place our base plate in here. And this is actually what you're going to be setting your wood on top of. The final piece is putting the flame ring on. Of course, you can see this bevel comes up right here. And this is actually supposed to, one, protect the fire, but also optimize your fire so that flame just is extra perfect. I'm excited to test that out. Here's our whole set next to each other. And you can see that this was a carrying bag and not a cover. So you can actually just put this in that carrying bag to carry it around to make it convenient and portable to take it to any campfire you want. We had to pause the review for a few days because it started to rain right in the middle of previously filming, but it did give me a chance to try out the Solo Stove's carrying bag. And yes, it does fit in there, but it's really, really snug. To give you an idea of what I'm talking about, it fits just barely inside the bag. I wish it was just a few inches larger so it fit in there maybe just a little easier. Once I got it in there, it's definitely big enough to carry it, but it was hard getting in there initially. I would also caution you while moving this stuff around, even though they try to polish the edges here, these are pretty sharp and you can definitely cut yourself, so just be careful. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take it out of the bag and actually start our fire for the very first time. I really like the idea of the Solo stove. You can see there's holes around all the way here at the bottom. There's also holes on the inside, and of course the base we saw had holes in it, and that's to provide air right to the fire. So air will come in from the bottom and really heat up that fire or bring oxygen into that fire, allowing you to have a great burn. But I'm told this also makes sure we have a smokeless burn. I'm excited to try that out. As you can see, I've chopped some firewood. Just kidding, we actually purchased that at the store. What I'm gonna do now is we're officially gonna set this thing up and start our campfire. We're told this is actually compatible with decks and stuff, but just to test it out, I am gonna slide a piece of paper underneath there, and we will check this piece of paper after our first burn just to see if it's been singed or not. I'm really hopeful because I want to put this on my porch. I'm excited to try this out. I have some cedar branches in there as well, sort of kindling. I cut those a couple weeks ago, plus we have our fire kilned wood, so this thing should light up pretty well. Looks like we did a good job starting our fire. After this catches, I'm going to add some more wood and, well, just enjoy the day. Check that out. We have a really good fire burning right now. I do love the heat that's coming off of this. Plus, I know that everything is safe contained within my Solo stove. I wanted to scan this with my infrared detector. Check that out. This thing is very hot, ranging in around 320 degrees Fahrenheit. Although you notice at the bottom, it definitely is a lot cooler. I did a scan there and it was right around 150 degrees Fahrenheit. Be careful not to touch this. The company boasts that its product has a smokeless design, and realistically, it's almost impossible not to have any smoke from a fire, but I am pretty impressed with how this is actually going up and out and not necessarily blowing at my face. That to me was a pretty cool feature because I hate smoke blowing in my face. We are an hour into our first burn and it's been going really, really well. I will say when we started there was no wind at all, but recently the wind has picked up. I used my anemometer and it was right around 10 to 12 miles per hour, but as you can see, the fire is really staying contained inside of the Solo stove. They don't necessarily say you can use this in high winds, but I was kind of impressed that, you know what, nothing's blowing around and everything's just staying right here compact. I do like how you can feel the heat just resonate off of the Solo stove. I'm sitting about 3 feet away and I can definitely feel the warmth. After reading through the directions, we're told that the Solo stove will start to patina after you use it. And I can actually already see that. You see how this is turning brown right here around the edge? I can also see that on the inside. So it's important to note that that original shiny color on the inside and that lip is not going to be there after the first time, and that's something you should just expect. It'll continue to further patina over time. So tell me, what are your thoughts of the Solo stove? Something you're interested in, not so much? Let me know down in the comment section below. I would love to hear from you. As I've been using the Solo stove, it kind of reminds me of my burn barrel that we just dump all the stuff in there and let it burn. Although this one does have a better oxygen flow or airflow because of the holes in the bottom. That's kind of what it reminds me of, except, well, this is shorter and a whole lot more expensive. The cool thing about the Solo stove is when you're ready to go inside, you can just let this thing burn out. Because it's completely contained, it's safe. So you know what? I'm gonna come check back in on it in the morning and then I'll dump the ash. We've let our Solo stove completely cool down. Of course, you can see the ash bit at the bottom. We wanna clean that out right now because after you use it, you're supposed to really just clean it out. So I'll show you here what to do. You first wanna remove your fire ring just so you can get your ash pan out. And down here in the middle, you should be able to find there's some holes that you're supposed to be able to put your fingers in. And pick this right up. You take it right over to a box or whatever and just dump it right on in there. You might notice there's some residual stuff. Just brush that right on off. It's easy to do this with a broom or your hands. Just want to clean that off. We also want to make sure we remove our inner pan here and dump that in the same box. We saw during the video how hot the outside of the Solo stove got. I'm really interested to see the paper underneath. Wow, it's just as clean as we put it on there. It did not even get singed. That is impressive. Now I know we can actually keep this on top of our porch. In this video, we're taking a look at the Solo stove. So what do we think of it? First things first, let's talk about that price point. I purchased this for right around $200, which in my opinion was a lot of money, but it is a pretty cool unit. I appreciate that the company offers a wide variety of sizes, but in hindsight, I kind of wish I would have went bigger with the Solo stove. Even though I like the 19.5, they do have larger versions, which I think would have been more suitable for me specifically. As far as setup, this is probably one of the easiest items I've had to set up. It just was 3 pieces that I put up, put some wood in, lit it on fire, and we were all ready to go with our bonfire. I was trying to think of the ideal customer for the Solo stove, and in my opinion, if you live out there in the city, you want to make sure you're safe, this is a great item to keep out there on your porch. You get to have that convenience of having a bonfire with everything really contained in one unit. I also like the portability of this because I've gone to a few different campsites that didn't have their own fire rings, and you could bring your own, and this is a perfect one to bring to your campsite, and therefore you have everything all contained in just one unit. That to me is the biggest selling point. As you saw, the cleanup was really quick and easy. We just dumped the ash into a box and wiped everything off, and it was good for the next time we wanted to use it. If I had to say a con I had for the Solo stove, it is very, very hot on the exterior. As you saw from my thermal reader, 300 degrees. I did try to touch it. It's very hot, so you need to make sure you're cautious around it. Don't let pets or children or even yourself touch the outside of the Solo stove. Make sure you have enough distance back. It is very hot. The cool thing is it really doesn't just stop with the Solo stove. Solo stove and other companies have made aftermarket accessories for the Solo stove, and I'm really excited to be testing them out in a subsequent video. There's a whole lot of different things you can choose from different heating sources to grills to covers to mats. I'll be putting that out in a separate video, but I'm really excited about the opportunity. I was really appreciative of the Solo stove after my paper test. Remember, I had that paper underneath for hours. This thing was burning at really high temperatures, but that paper was unsinged. That to me was pretty convenient because then I could put it on top of my porch and I know I'm not going to have damage. However, if you still don't feel comfortable, there are companies that sell mats and pads that you can put underneath your chimeneas or stoves such as this to help add an extra layer of protection on your porch. If this is something that interests you, I will leave a link down in the description. This is Jeff with Jeff Reviews for You. As always, thanks for stopping by and hope you have a great day.